All right, use of force. Can a cop, if you will, punch a subject in the face? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. This is Cop Talk Live, Changing Cop Culture. I'm Dominic Izzo. I'm a retired police officer from out here in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, and welcome to the channel. We go live every Tuesday and Thursday, discuss police topics, and you're going to see a lot of content that I do. Looks like I'm anti-police, and I'm not. I believe in negative reinforcement. It's just a style of mine. So therefore, if I sit there and say, hey, you cops are fucking up, you know, it would be, I don't like humanizing the badge. I don't like baiting a profession. It's kind of like get your heads out of your asses and make things work the way it should and how you should do it. So let's go over some stuff tonight first. We got to do some housekeeping out here in the Chicago area. An off-duty Cook County sheriff deputy, he was murdered, dies after being shot at a gas station. Person of interest is allegedly in custody for the sake of honoring a Chicago Cook County officer. I'm going to play the news clip on this and let this speak for itself.
The search is on tonight for the gunman who murdered a Cook County Sheriff's deputy.
That shooting happened overnight at a gas station in Woodlawn. WGN's Brona Tumulty is joining us live from the Sheriff's Department in Maywood with the latest. Brona.
Good evening, guys. We're hearing that an arrest may have been made. We're trying to get confirmation on that at the moment. But this was a hard-working young man off duty at the time this all happened, and we're told he defended others even in his last moments.
It's just crazy, but I know he justice, and I know he up there looking down. Tell us don't cry, but it's hard. It's very hard.
The family of 31-year-old Raphael Wardlaw getting the worst possible news today.
But he was trying to love on us, and I woke up this morning and got the call, and it just broke me down.
Wardlaw grew up in Englewood, graduated top of his class at Urban Prep Academy, then Indiana State, before joining the Cook County Sheriff's Department.
Raphael was with us just shy of about 5 years, and he spent most of his time working as a correctional officer at the jail.
We're told he'd been with friends and relatives earlier in the evening planning his birthday party for August 10th. He'd stopped at a gas station around 1:30 a.m. at 67th and Marquette in Woodlawn. That's where investigators say he or the person he was with fell victim to an attempted robbery. And during an exchange of gunfire, Wardlaw was shot in the chest.
Someone showed up with guns, and I think they were attempting to rob either his cousin or somebody else at the time. And Raphael tried to defend everyone, and he was killed.
Police say he tried to drive his vehicle afterwards, but crashed into a pole in the 6700 block of South Indiana and was later pronounced dead at the University of Chicago Medical Center.
My deepest condolences to the sheriff as well as to their family. My prayers, of course, are with the family.
Those who knew him best left reeling, mourning the person they say was the peacemaker, the fun-loving heart of their family.
We have to do better to stop the senseless violence, because that was senseless. He was a hard-working young man. He did not deserve.
In the street. I never think that it'll hit us like this. It's been a long time since we had a death in a family that came from gun violence. So it's just messed up that y'all took a good person away from us for no reason.
Top of his class, and the kid sits there and goes to college, and he chooses to go into corrections. Unbelievable. Chicago, of all places. Black violence is out of control in Chicago. Mayor Tom Dart is about as useful as fucking... I just pick your worst analogy. I don't know. And that's what it is. And then Mayor Brandon Johnson is a diversity, equity, and inclusion hire. He's a DEI hire. He's a socialist. He's a race-baiting bigot. He hates white people. He only includes black people in anything that's ever an accomplishment in the city, and he blames everybody else, including racism. He recently talked about Richard Nixon is the problem or the fault of why black crime is so out of control in the city of Chicago. Damn Nixons, right? So here it is. You got another sit there, a young man who is murdered, police officer, cop, correction officer. And I don't distinguish the two of them because when you have that uniform and that badge and that responsibility, it falls into the same concept of serving and protecting, even though I do believe that given the opportunity, I think correction officers should I've said this a million times. If cops started off in the corrections, you'd probably have a lot better cops in the street because of the way that they have their mindset is there. But you're not going to see rioting. You're not going to see protesting. Yeah, Black Lives Matter, apparently not when you're a Cook County correction officer in the city of Chicago. There you go. Brandon Johnson, racist, black man, hates his own when it comes down to anybody who's not a criminal. If you're a criminal and you're black in Chicago, guess what? Sheriff Tom Dart and Mayor Brandon Johnson, they fucking love you. Let's continue here, though, today. Yeah, over in the comments, CJ Lapel, thank you, or Leshpel, thank you. I've got a bunch of emails from you guys that I'm backlogged on. I've gotten your emails, and I will take a look at them. Miter999, it's good to see you. Sarah Nichols, how are you? The chat is open, and we're monitoring. Make sure if you're jumping on, that you're hitting that like button and you're subscribing. Welcome. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, buy my book, Before the Badge, Everything You Need to Know Before You Become a Cop. Available at Words Matter Publishing, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon. Also, you can send me any videos that you want me to review to Officer Dominic Izzo at gmail.com. It's Officer Dominic with a K, D-O-M-I-N-I-C-K, Izzo at gmail.com. Video that's making the rounds is of the LAPD officer who punched the subject in the face, and whether or not cops can do that. Can they punch people in the face? Well, you have to look at the use of force continuum and what use of force is based off of. So I talked about this. There's an organization called PERF, Police Executive Research Forum, and back in 2014, so 10 years ago, I first gained notice of it, and I was going through the tenets. I don't even know. Let me take a look and see if it's still around. PERF, if it's up there. Yeah, Police Executive Research Forum, and one of the tenets for their use of force, critical issues, PERF training podcast, services. I'll have to look at this later on, but one of their tenets that they had for going over what use of force was is they wanted to change the standard from objectively reasonableness to proportionality. And what that means, if you're playing the game at home, is when you look at use of force, the concept is the use of force that officer used objectively, would it be considered objectively reasonable by a majority of police officers? Would they all come together and go, yeah, that's fair enough? Like there's a case out here in Illinois, I guess it's Mandarino was the sergeant's name, and he was with Carroll Stream or Streamwood Police Department, one of the two, and he struck a subject like 18 times with a baton in within 30 seconds. And he was stripped of power. I believe he was charged criminally, and he has jail time because it was deemed by the standard of that was not objectively reasonable force through the lens of common police officers. So when you're looking at that standard, that's what you have to go to, right? Would it be objectively reasonable? The danger is when things like this LAPD thing come up, and it's on the heels of always black and white racial tension and racial divide. People don't ever want to take that fucking lens off. It's racial. No, it's a black man, white cop, blah, blah. We see it all the time. You lose the ability to also objectively, kind of critique the incident. So what PERF wanted to do was they wanted to change the standard from objectively reasonable by a police officer to proportionality through the eyes of a civilian. And I was making a big stinking noise about this back in 2014 going, do you guys not realize what's going to happen? Here you have, it's like, hey, here's little Susie Mary Francis, 75-year-old grandma in Anytown, USA, and sees that a cop is getting the shit beat out of him by somebody, and the cop gets up and takes a baton and just gives a giant whack across the peroneal nerve in the leg, and she's like, oh, because she can associate that with, I think that would hurt if you did it to me. That's not proportional. I don't think the officer should do it, so it's a danger for it. When it comes down to LAPD use of force, the Los Angeles Police Department's use of force policy states that officers may use force that is, quote, objectively reasonable to defend themselves or others, make an arrest or detention, prevent escape and or overcome resistance. I pulled an article up here from 2017. This is from Witness LA. It's a criminal justice journalism in the public interest. And this was a LA Police Commission adopts use of force policy. Now, when you get this convoluted or this insane when it comes to it, it's a stare. Right, it's a pyramid going up and a pyramid going down, all the way from command presence. I show up on scene. I shouldn't have to say anything. You see me in uniform. Ooh, that's the first level of use of force. All the way to the tip of the pyramid, which is deadly force, which is I show up on scene. You're choking out a toddler that's in a pram, which is a fancy European word for stroller. And I just walk right up to you. I don't need to say anything. I can put a pistol right to your head, and I can empty that magazine until the threat is eliminated. It can escalate it, but the escalation of use of force is always or the de-escalation of the use of force is always dictated by the subject. Well, what do you mean by that, Izzo? Can you explain that to me? Sure. I show up on scene and you're punching a toddler. You're a 230-pound man and you're a professional boxer and you're punching the shit out of a 6-month-old that's in a stroller, and you punch mom in the face just out of nowhere, whatever. You're dictating the use of force because that force that you are doing is likely to cause death or great bodily harm. I can now use, as long as you're in the middle of it, you're still doing it, I can use force that is going to terminate the life-threatening behavior. I don't want to kill you, but I'm going to use my pistol, put it at your temple, like I said, pull the trigger, or maybe I got my clipboard in my hand because I was writing a ticket. I'm going to take that clipboard, I'm going to bash it in your effing throat. I'm going to do what I can. I will use a rear naked choke, whatever, knife, stab you in the face. I don't care what it is. The point is to terminate the life-threatening behavior. Now, if I show up on scene, here's de-escalation as dictated by you. Okay, I walk up. You're punching a toddler. Now this kid's 6 months old, and you're wailing away on this toddler, and you're like, "I'm going to kill you. I hate babies." I see you. I'm 10 feet away from you. I'm in a crowd. I know damn well that, my marksmanship isn't that well. I'm not going to risk shooting you from 10 feet away. I ought to get a little bit closer. So as I get out of my car, my squad, I'm in full uniform. I walk up. I can say, "Police, stop, don't, I will shoot." It's really a moot point if they're in the middle of it. Yeah, should you do it? Yes, you should always give verbal instructions where needed. But when you see me and you're like, "Ooh, command presence, there's a cop." And that is a level of force. I don't even mind. I could have my pistol drawn, whatever. Don't even have to have my pistol drawn. You see it and you are all of a sudden, you stop your behavior, put your hands up in the air. My blood's pumping. I got an adrenaline dump, heart's beating. I'm going, damn, I'm going to stab this mother effer in the face, whatever. Ooh, I have to slow my roll now because you just stopped your behavior. Your hands are up. I am no longer lawfully allowed to use deadly force because you've stopped. I can have my pistol pointed right at your face and warn you. I will pull this trigger until I am out of ammunition if you even move a muscle going towards that baby. I could do that, but you're the one who dictates the use of force from the police's point of view. The police don't do it. Police can't say, "I'm going to escalate it, I'm going to de-escalate it." Their attitude does. If we look at, I will say this, and I'll just be really brief about this. Last week, we talked about Sonia Massey, the idiot criminal, terrorist, murdering cop Grayson. He escalated use of force. They were inside her home. They were invited. Yeah, I think there's an argument to say they actually forced their way in there. They didn't ask if they could come in. She was not under criminal investigation. She was in the process of doing whatever she wanted in her home. That includes boiling water to make food that night. I don't care what she wants. He's the one who pulled the pistol out based on what? She said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." I don't care. He escalated that use of force. If she had burned him with a pot and she lived today and he was blind and had, you know, the worst, like 3rd-degree burns and all this stuff, I would be like, good. He escalated it. He escalated the use of force. So there's that. The video that we're going to look at, I'm just going to pick this one at random here.
All right, 406.
This is, and we'll play it a couple times so everybody can wind up seeing. This is the video that's going around. We don't have that much of any information. It's probably, 15 seconds worth of video. So all we know is apparently this was a traffic stop. You have 2 police officers dealing with a very large man, or these are very 2 small police officers. And let's take a look together what happens, and then let's break it down and say, hey, damn it, was that a lawful use of force or not?
6 right now happening today. We may hear from the man at the center of this video. You can see him getting punched by an LAPD officer while he was handcuffed. His lawyer is holding a news conference this morning, and NBC4's John Caddy's Klimak is live at police headquarters in downtown LA with what we've learned about the officers seen in that video. John, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, so at least one of those officers has been removed from field duty as a result of that video. I want to share with you that specific moment.
What did I do?
Yeah, you can hear Alexander Donta Mitchell asking, what did I do, just before he gets punched in the jaw. It was a witness to the events that recorded the video on her cell phone and posted it to social media. It happened Sunday afternoon in Watts after what LAPD says was a traffic stop, and it's led to civil rights leaders calling foul and demanding the LA district attorney file criminal charges.
Oh, shut up, you civil rights pigs. There's a time and place for you, but when all you do is you make your money off of donations coming in from, poor oppression, it gets pretty fucking old. And you're just as much as accountable, if not more, for the responsibility with citizens, because for some strange reason, people get it in their mind just because you're on the case, they can disobey lawful orders. They don't have to, they can resist all they want. They don't have to comply. So fuck you. You civil rights pigs are also a very big problem when it comes down to these issues. Let's break this down again, and we'll look at it a couple different times. So without any audio and which you always got, this is use of force. Now remember, use of force is in the moment. In the moment. Now, there's active and passive resistance. What do I mean by that? Passive resistance. Sir, put your hands behind your back. No. It's passive resistance. I'm not touching you. You're not touching me, whatever. You're the bad guy, or, you're the subject. You're not a bad guy. So you got due process. And I say, sir or miss, put your hands behind your back. Nope. Passive resistance. Passive resistance. When I go up to you, and you've got your arms stiff to your side, or you've got your arms folded like a little pouty toddler, and I go to take your wrist, and you tense up every muscle in your body, and you start twisting and turning so that I cannot put your hands behind your back to secure you into handcuffs. You are now actively resisting a peace officer. That's all it is. That's all it is. The use of force level then escalates by what you choose to do there, okay? If you take a stance, passive resistance, to a degree, I'm going to say passive resistance has no contact on whatsoever. Or, to a degree, active too. If I say, hey, put your hands behind your back, and you go, no, we're going, and you put up your dukes, well, now I know what your intent is, and you go from a passive resistance to an active resistance. I'm going to pull out taser. I'm going to be like, no, all right, we're going, bitch. Like, I don't need taser for this. And then we're going to go. But let's break down this specifically. Number one, here's what I see. 2 cops. And for the most part, I don't know how LA is, but Chicago and LA, I think New York, they're 2-man squads. I was a suburb guy. We didn't do that. But when you went hands-on, for the most part, listen, I was a seasoned officer. I was very secure with my safety. I rarely needed a second when I took somebody into custody. Just is what it is. Maybe that's overconfidence. Looking in this day and age now with also body cameras in place, I think that if I was still a cop, I would always have a second officer at an arrest, because I wouldn't want to be accused of doing anything I didn't do as well either. So you look at them. Well, we got to get to the punch, right? So what caused the punch? The punch it's a stunning technique. And when I first saw this, I went, damn, man, you can't control your emotions? It's like, what the hell? But I had to start looking into what the point was. And I went, oh, let's look right here for those who can't see at home. His right arm is not secured into handcuffs. It's irrelevant right now in my argument for the strike to the face, the stunning technique. Why? If it turns out to be an unlawful arrest, then there's all sorts of other problems. I'm acting off the information that just this was a traffic stop. They took him into custody. Could be a warrant. Could be he was doing 55 over. Could be he was DUI. I don't know. So I'm going to act in good faith of, yeah, all right, they had the lawful authority to put him in handcuffs. Number one, partner here is useless. Little dude here is useless. He's got a hand on this hand. So it's basically one cop trying to secure this very large man that is 3 times the size of these guys by himself. You can see this subject, the large black man who's being put in custody, is gripping his pants, or I don't know if these are shorts or pants, to prevent them from pulling its leverage. So now you can't pull my hand behind my back. And we're going to continue. They can't pull the hand up. This guy is on a radio for some reason, whatever. We'll go back to, here we have a better look at it. So, and the guy's talking. He can say what he wants too, right? The guy can say what he wants. Fuck you, I can't stand you. I mean, if he says, fuck you, if I'm going to beat the shit out of both of you, that's something I highly doubt he said that. A lot of people had a problem too with the lack of effectiveness that they accused the cop of having. Well, the cop really didn't hit him that hard. That's the point. That's the point. If you look in on this position, and I'll play it again, the cop hits the guy on an upward position because he's clearly taller. So number one, you're not going to get a lot of power. Number two, it's meant to change the state of the subject in order to put them in cuffs. It would be the same thing as a knee into the peroneal, which I don't know why he didn't do. That would have probably been a lot more effective, and that would have probably dropped the guy. You do nice 2 or 3 strikes with your knee right in the side of the quad. Oh, damn, you're going to wind up dropping, right? But he chose to do this. It's still on the same use of force continuum. The subject was not complying, and he was actively resisting. And I know a lot of you have a problem with this because it looks bad, and you're also going, black man, looks like a white cop. Shut the fuck up for fucking 5 minutes. Don't make it a black and white issue. It's a use of force issue. This cop, the one in the front here, is absolutely just friggin', he's I don't know what he is. He's useless. He's out of his mind. So this cop can easily, it's all how you articulate it, right? Remember? Now, if you follow my content, you know that I'm not for misrepresenting facts. If that's me, and I'm the cop who's trying to take him into custody and I strike, it's, listen, this guy is 6'3", 280 pounds. He is bigger than the both of us. He's actively resisting. My partner was useless. I chose to use a technique, a stunning, to change his state to get him in handcuffs. And if you watch him strike and watch the guy's demeanor. Watch him. Talk, boom, boom. And then look, he just immediately drops his head and starts to turn, right? He changed his state. That was a successful stun move. That took the fight out of him because the guy's like, yeah. And his pride is hurt. It's all fucked up, all this. So that all this was a means that, and he's still resisting, but look at that deep breath he takes too. Watch, he drops. Watch him when he sits there and he steps to the side. You can see he's going to drop his head. And then watch, he just goes, look. Oh, see, he did that exasperating breath, right? That's what that is. This technique 100% was successful in its application. It's meant to change the state. It's not meant to knock him out. It's not meant to hurt him. It's meant to be. You ever see the movie Airplane? For those who are old enough to remember, you know, they did something that, well, a lot of people were socially accepted to do to women in the 50s and the 60s, which was you slap a hysterical woman to change her state. And in the movie Airplane with Leslie Nielsen, he's the doctor, and they all take a line on a hysterical woman who's in the passenger seat, and they all start slapping her across the face to change her state, right? That's what he's doing. It's a state change. It wasn't meant to knock him out. It wasn't meant to hurt him. This was meant to go comply. And if you look at the body position here, 100%, that's what this did.
What did I do though?
Yeah, you can hear Alexander Donta Mitchell asking, what did I do, just before he gets punched in the jaw. It was a witness to the events that recorded the video on her cell phone and posted it to social media. It happened Sunday afternoon in Watts after what LAPD says was a traffic stop, and it's led to civil rights leaders calling foul and demanding the LA District Attorney file criminal charges against the officer. Legal analyst Royal Oaks says there needs to be an internal investigation about this, too, about how the officer responded.
No, and there doesn't. And I know a lot of you in the comment section are like, oh, they should have done this, should have done that. Go ahead. Fight. Fight with somebody and see what happens to your cardiovascular system when you're struggling with somebody and you got the camera on you and you can't do half the shit that you know you're trained to do because the public sees it and all of a sudden it's, hey, this guy is black and what are you doing? And he didn't do nothing. Oh, my God, he's going to murder him. I can't breathe. Go ahead and do it. Do it. See, you know what the cops really need to do to get some of you to just like shut the fuck up? They need to do nothing. I mean, I would be okay if police just drove around in their squad for 8, 10, 12 hours, never left it, never answered calls, and just collected a paycheck. I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with that. Because a lot of you are just dumbasses who need to sit there and be at the receiving end of the criminals out there and go, oh, shit. You guys think I hate cops. I don't. Because I know the stupid shit that they put up with your armchair quarterbacking. I can armchair quarterback. I did the subject. Use of force instructor. Defensive tactics expert. I'll fucking tell you all day long how it should be done and when it shouldn't be done, and I'll condemn when it shouldn't be done. Some of you commenting, you're dumb. You're just dumb. You shut the fuck up and let the expert handle it. And when I tell you that this was a lawful use of force, it was. It's 100% lawful use of force. This man is bigger. This man is actively resisting. He is not complying. The partner is doing more damage than good. It is not as sensible to take him to the ground. I don't know what they did afterwards. Because we only got 10 seconds of this video, so they could have taken him to the ground. So in this context, 100% this is a justified use of force. Over in the comment section, Professor Swaggermuffin. These are actual situations where there is racism. Well, there are actual situations where there's racism, but I don't think this is one of them. I happen to agree with you. John, there's zero reason for them to be in such a hurry. They're paid to just this. They can be patient. Well, John, if you have to get somebody into handcuffs, you need to get them in handcuffs right away. Right away. So, John, you don't know what you're talking about, but welcome to the live broadcast. Hope we can continue to get you here and you're subscribed. Officer Tater Hater, does Officer Tatum ever not defend cops? I don't care. I can't stand him because he called me a racist. My favorite color is clear. Blind man can see that he needs to be double cuffed. I agree with you. That here's the problem with double cuffing, and I'll continue with the comment in a second. When you cuff a hand, the studies show that I believe it's 77% of all resisting arrests come after the first click of the handcuff is secure. So now I've got a problem. I've got the other handcuffs in my hand and I'm using the one that is secure to you. You're a big guy like this. I've got them and I've got to hold them and manipulate them so that you're not going to torque your arm out or use them as a weapon, swing them on me. I've got to get your other arm, right? So I've got two hands right here. One is holding cuffs and the other one is holding your hand. So when I want to try to put them together, I got to go for those third cuffs. I used to carry, because I wore a vest too, I used to carry two cuffs in the small on my back and then one pair of cuffs with was like in and out, half in and out of my, I have a pair of cuffs. I thought I had a pair of cuffs here. I thought I did for display purposes. I do. Okay. So I would take the other pair of cuffs like this and I would have them. They were chain cuffs back then, secured in my vest. So when I needed them, I just take them out like that, right? So if I've got the cuffs and it goes and it's on, now I got to pull this, right? And usually I'm right-handed. So I cuff that first side, boom. It's on your left hand, done. Now I've got this, so I'm pulling it over to get your left hand. Well, you want me to double cuff you. So which hand do I let go of? This one that's got your hand or this one that's got the weapon on your arm? The problem is his partner wasn't doing any good to secure those double cuffs. Cop's not strong enough nor skilled enough to handle the tougher side of police work. My favorite color is clear. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. It's not as simple as you think it is. If this person is resisting, and as police, you are limited in what you can do, you're always going to be a beat or 10 behind the movement because they dictate the use of force level that you're able to use. So you're just dumb. But I appreciate you watching. Professor Swagamuffin, I think it's awful, but technically lawful. The cop probably could have controlled the situation without the punch. We don't know that. I don't know. Not very sure. And then Miter 999 says stuff like that likely caused certain communities to be less policed. Good. And then Donnie Mullis, smash that like button, people. Yeah. There you go. Appreciate that. So that's that. I'm going over this again. This use of force was justified.
It may look really bad to you, and it may be really bad, but until the officers investigate what happened and come to a conclusion as to what might have prompted this, was there any excuse for a punch to the face of a guy who was partially restrained? You gotta wait till all the facts are in.
Yeah, the LA Police Commission is meeting this morning. This will likely be part of their discussion today. And at 9 o'clock this morning, an attorney for that man involved is holding a news conference outside LAPD calling for the removal of the officer's removal from the force. So going beyond just criminal charges, but also making sure he no longer works for LA.
You know what? Fuck them. Everybody should just go on strike and give these communities what they want. It is such a shame how the black community and these communities of color, they are just, they're used by these scumbag politicians, these scumbag race baiting, just snake oil sales, Al Sharptons of the world, and they suffer. They suffer. And nobody really cares about them, to be honest, when it comes to these people in a position of whatever. They don't give a shit about them. They don't. They're just another fucking paycheck for them, and they're just another media spot for them. Moving on, another story that I wanted to look at, which was actually horrible, was out here as well in Illinois. This is the one thing I found this so far. There's body camera footage of a 4-year-old that was shot in Macomb, Illinois. And let's look at the story on this really quickly as I stop that. Get out of here. See, Macomb, Illinois. The Macomb Police Department has released body camera footage of the shooting of a 4-year-old Terrell Miller on March 16th, 2024. Lieutenant Nick Goke and Officer Corey Cameron responded to reports of a domestic violence. During the incident, deadly force was used. 2 individuals were deceased at the scene. Per Macomb Police Department policy and outside agency, Illinois State Police handled the investigation. The 2 officers were immediately placed on administrative leave, pending the results of the ISP, Illinois State Police investigation. With the conclusion of the ISP investigation and the McDonough County Sheriff's review, Macomb Police Department is now able to release body camera footage. I did see this, and I'll tell you my that's not, these people aren't related to this. We're going to just play this, look at this together. It's a short video, and go from there.
Officer-involved shooting with officers from the Macomb Police Department. The video is being provided to the public in commitment to transparency and public interest. It should be noted that the incident was investigated by the Illinois State Police, and an internal investigation was conducted by the Macomb Police Department. The video and information contained herein does not draw conclusions on the actions of the officers or whether or not their conduct was in compliance with Illinois law and departmental policy. The video you see is taken from body-worn cameras. Body-worn cameras don't always capture everything the officer observes, nor do they capture what the officer was perceiving at the time.
Spoken about that before, like low-light conditions. I know when we were in the process of trying to find WatchGuard body cameras from our department, which recorded us doing a lot of things. If you didn't see the last video I did last week talking about my police career and everything I went through, go ahead and watch it. A lot of things that you have to look at is like low-light condition compensation. Meaning, well, if your camera comes across and one of the features is it's got night vision or low light conditions, do you want that? And some people would be like, fuck yeah, I want that. Holy shit. And then I say to you this, okay, so the human eye on 2 o'clock in the morning in a low light condition, I can see you. A crime was just committed down the road. Somebody just was like stabbed 5 times, and they called 911 because they're still breathing. Great. So I find you. You're the suspect. And I stop you. You got something in your hands that's kind of, shiny, and you kind of like turn and raise it, and I take a pistol and I light you up and I shoot you to terminate the life-threatening behavior because you're about to stab me. I perceive you turn towards me and you raise an object. The information I have is I just come from a stabbing, just saw blood, and there's your running down the road there, and I go to stop you, and then I turn out, fuck, you had a cell phone in your hand, and that was a shiny cell phone cover. Body camera caught it all up. When we go to court over this, I don't want the low light compensation body camera footage that shows the jury, clearly we can see that that's not a knife. That's a cell phone cover. How the hell could the officer not see it? Because the human eye doesn't work like a camera that is designed, built, has technology to pick up things the human eye can't see. Does that make sense? So keep that in mind. A lot of times we see things on a fisheye lens. Like when you did look at Sonia Massey in the kitchen with the shitbag who murdered her, based on the wide-angle lens, the fisheye lens, it looks like there was a greater distance between them when it most likely was not. So body cameras are not always 100% accurate for what the human eye sees.
Conversely, body-worn cameras may capture moments that officers don't observe. Although these tools are effective in assisting with evidence collection, we are reminding the public that an incident cannot be judged based solely on what is recorded through body-worn video. Some video images have been redacted to preserve victim privacy, as well as victim names and addresses. At about 10:03 p.m. on March 16, 2024, officers are dispatched to multiple 911 calls, reporting an active domestic situation. One caller thinks they may have heard gunshots. Officers arrive within 3...
All right, so what do we know? We got multiple calls to a dispatch, domestic violence. Domestic violence, man, I always erred on the side of they're going to be horrible, even though, when you're, you get the whole fucking
9511, 9512, domestic in progress.
Yeah, go ahead.
123 Main Street, caller on the phone says that boyfriend is beating her up again, and there's no intox, no weapons.
10-4, I got it. And we know that we've been to 123 Main Street a million fucking times because it's John and Jane, and you go there and they hate each other, and we take him off to court, and they make so it's like, no, okay, you called somebody off, right? I did that. I had the domestic that I called off my partner, and that's the one that I got the knife stuck in my face because I went 90, 92, what was I, 9511, 9513. Have 9523, 1022, I've got it. And it was a stupid mistake because I'd been to that house several times before, didn't think anything of it, and then I go there and the guy sticks a knife in my face. Like, motherfucker, that was a bad time to wind up doing that. And I've done that a few times. So the information you have is domestic, several calls to the dispatcher, okay? A little high priority. When you get several, you're like, all right, I'm going to step it up, and you're going to err on the side that something's out of fucking control. We don't know what the dispatcher said, what they heard in the background, screaming, yelling, all this stuff. Okay, we're going to step it up. Even if it's a house you've been to a million times, you still go. You go code, you step it up. And then you heard allegedly shots fired. Okay, now I'm going to be on alert, right? So these are all good, lawful reasons for the police to be there, use of force to be potentially used. If we're playing the home game, should they use deadly force? No. Should they be prepared to use deadly force depending upon what time this is. I don't know what time the body camera. So this looks like it's this is March 16th, 20 to 11:46. So that's 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And nothing good happens after 10 p.m. on shift. And let's see what happens here. So they should be prepared to use force necessary to effect an arrest.
3 minutes. Officers gain access to the east side stairwell and are met by a person who ushers the officers inside and points upstairs.
All right, a couple different things here. You got somebody meeting you at the door, little sense of urgency. I will remove myself out of the way, but I noticed this. You'll see this again the first time here. These look like, you see this red marks on the wall? First thing I thought was, damn kids playing with their crayons. Well, if I see that and I don't have time, I'm going to be thinking, are these bloody swiped handprints or something else on there? So just note that for future context. And let's go.
Macomb police, open the door. Huh? Macomb police, open the door.
Officers announce their presence and order the occupants to open the door.
Huh?
Officers hear screams for help.
There you go. That's it. Kick the fucking door in. Exigent circumstance. Doesn't matter if they're playing around or not, based on the totality of the circumstances. Numerous 911 calls. Somebody met them at the door. You've got what looks to appear be blood on the wall. And then you have somebody screaming on the, kick the fucking door in. Cops have every lawful authority, right, you name it, to gain entry into your home against your will.
A distressed female subject could be heard yelling, "He's stabbing me." Officers force entry.
You can see a little bit of red on her hand here.
Into the apartment.
All right, so here's what we got. We got a naked guy in the doorway here. He's got a line of sight. I'm going 100%. I'm going to say he's got a knife in his hands. He's naked, so he's a little bit fucking crazy. She's clearly got blood on her hands, whatever the case is. If he does not comply, he 100%, he's going to dictate use of force. So if he moves in any way, shape, or form towards the officer, light him the fuck up, empty every round into his person until the threat is eliminated. You're not trying to kill him. You're trying to stop, terminate life-threatening behavior, which clearly he demonstrates. Let's keep going. He just ducked across the way.
The Macomb police officer discharged a single bullet.
And we're going to stop the video here because this piece of shit, I gotta pray for people. The officer saw the moment, took it. You saw how fast that was. The guy's holding a 4-year-old kid. And the cop shot and killed the 4-year-old kid and the subject. I'm going to show you again with no audio how fast that fucking happened. This is, we're going to go back in. He's going to kick the door in, gain entry. You see chaos, knife in hand. As soon as he pops his head out, let's take a shot. Boom. And murders a child. Yeah. No. Wrong. Kills a child. That's not murder. There's no intent. Wrong fucking word. I walk that one back 100%. This ruined this cop's life because of this dog shit human being.
The threat ended. Officers began rendering aid and called for medical personnel. Both the child and the suspect were pronounced deceased at the scene. We'll take a moment now to review additional details of the incident. When officers arrived on the scene, note the presence of blood on the walls of the stairwell.
Macomb police, open the door.
After identifying themselves and ordering occupants to open the door, a female subject could be heard yelling, "He's stabbing me." Officers then force their way into the apartment after identifying themselves. The officer points their issued firearm at the naked adult male, identifies himself as police, and issues lawful commands to see the suspect's hands. The officer orders the female with injuries out of the home to safety. What happens next transpires in a matter of seconds, so we'll slow and stop the video occasionally for additional clarity and detail. Notice during the confrontation we can observe a knife in the suspect's left hand. We'll highlight the weapons when present, as they're only visible for a short time during the incident. The suspect then lunges out of sight and a child is heard screaming. The suspect eventually reappears with
And here's the thing about the deadly force issue and why it's so quick and why this is so difficult. And this is where you hear a lot of times people talk about the cops have fractions of a second to make a decision. All information given, the numerous 911 calls, potentially a shot fired or shots fired, subject downstairs, sense of urgency, blood on the wall, go upstairs, screaming, kick door in, subject has blood on their hands, person's holding a knife. Think about this for a second. When he disappears, and it's a nanosecond, he disappears for a second, then comes back on scene. What if he had dropped the knife? What if he had dropped the knife and picked up the kid? All bets are off. Use of force, you can't use deadly force. You're asking the brain to get information that quickly and process it. So let's look at this again. He disappears. He could have dropped it, right? And then come back empty-handed. And fuck, you got to, and you're hit the officer. Here's the deal. The officer's finger should 100% be on the trigger. And I'm asking a ton because you're going to get an adrenaline dump, tunnel vision, auditory exclusion, right? So you can't hear shit, all this. When he disappears, now you're asking for training to kick in. The officer takes his finger off the trigger right away. And then when he peps around and puts the finger back on the trigger. I'm asking for a lot. And granted, hold yourselves to a higher standard, but let's watch.
Lunges out of sight and a child is heard screaming. The suspect eventually reappears with a knife in each hand, holding.
So he's got a knife here and here, and that's hard to see. Auditory exclusion, chaos, tunnel vision, adrenaline dump. Officer knows he might have to fucking shoot this person. So now you got your heart's beating faster. Your adrenaline is pumping. All the blood is going to pool to your necessary organs so they protect them, fight or flight. And then you almost get like cotton in your ears, can't hear. Your vision tightens up, tunnel vision. And I can guarantee you that cop probably did not see this child.
The child to his chest, one knife around the child's waist and one around the child's throat. It should be noted this adult male is identified as the suspect. A Macomb officer discharged a single bullet. The threat ended. Officers began rendering aid and called for medical personnel. Both the child and the suspect were pronounced deceased at the scene.
Over the chat, CPVO, he wasn't resisting in all caps. Police do not have the right to punch anyone in the face. You're hit. Go fuck your mother. And when you're done with her, send her my way and asks if she wants a repeat of the DP that we did to her 3 Fridays ago. There were 6 of us. We all took our time. We were very ginger, and she was a good sport about it. And she got paid very well. So, tell her if she wants to do it again, she can. She seemed to love it. She asked us to video record it. This, in my opinion, is a good shoot. I think that they should be 100% not be held. They should be reinstated, and it sucks. I don't think they're not. They're stripped of police powers, but this is a. I don't say good, as in the concept of like, oh yeah, it's a good shoot. It's a lawful shoot. It's very tragic. That officer, I feel horrible for that officer. And that is the shittiest thing to do. And John Q. Public, who's a piece of shit, they put them in that position. Yeah, Bleeding Blue 309, it's going to stick with them, and it sucks. 100%, man. Yeah. No, I agree with you too. Bleeding Blue 309. The cops should not face criminal prosecution at all. They should 100% keep their job. If they choose to resign or step down, that's 100% on their wishing to do so. Ron Moore, tragic scenes like this should make all officers demand to have body cameras to serve and protect them as well. 100%. Shy, you got a question here. Christopher, it's good to see you too. How are you? Dan, where's your question, Shy? You asked me the difference between Cook County Sheriffs and Illinois State Police. It's county and state. So state police has the whole state, and counties have the different counties. Stan Barkington, who gives a fuck what the officer perceived objective facts are all that should matter. Well, here's an objective fact. Your mom's a whore, and you can go and fucking do a line off her ass and then stuff pizza in your face till you're happy and just lick the Cheeto dust off your finger while you're in the basement doing nothing. So you're welcome for the content that I do, because without me, you wouldn't have a fucking clue what you're doing. So there you go. All right. If you can't tell, I don't like ignorant people at all. I think ignorant people are stupid and they're not worth anybody's time. There's that. Spiritual awakening, still trying to pick your jaw off the floor. Yeah, it fucking sucks, dude. Absolutely sucks. All right. Those are the two that I wanted to cover for today. I don't think I have anything else that I really wanted to go over. Shy Till I Die, 773. I thought CCS. Oh, no. So in the county, Cook County Corrections is the second largest county. I think it's the second largest county jail we have in the nation, right? It's not a prison. It's a jail where they house people who are awaiting due process for their court dates. Now, there are some prisoners in there. They wind up doing that, but it's not a correctional facility to where you're convicted of a crime and I got to serve your sentence out here, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. Illinois State, like Statesville is and all that kind of stuff. You have the Cook County Sheriff's Correctional Officers, used to call them jail guards. I think jail guards was a tougher name. Correctional officers. They do not have the same powers as peace officers do, police officers, even though I think they should. Seizure powers, that is. You have the Cook County Sheriff's deputies, the street sheriff deputies, who do enforce traffic laws, service calls, back up municipalities on service calls and whatnot. And then you have the Cook County Sheriff's court deputies, the bailiffs, the guys who serve in court. And then you have various teams that are in there too. Warrant services team, the team that's supposed to do the ankle monitor for people who are on house arrest and all this kind of stuff. So it's a very large organization. ISP, Illinois State Police, more or less serves, majority of ISP is going to be traffic on, all the expressways that we have throughout the state. And there's that. Hope that answers your question on that one. Juan Yankee says, government deployed thugs. That's right. Go shit in your hat and wear it twice on Sunday, boy. All right. CSVO, he wasn't fighting. He was contemplating what any man would be thinking. Yeah, he was waiting for his turn with your mother. I don't blame him. It was fun. If you can get past all the pig noises and the smell of hot garbage. But there you go. All right, no more coffee for me tonight. Guys, I love to remain professional on this and that shit, but, we're supposed to be entertaining when it comes down to really enjoying you. And I fucking hate idiots. I just do. I can't stand that. And I apply that to idiot cops out there as well, too. So if you're going to be a fucktard and you're going to come to my channel and you're going to disagree with me, you're wrong. You're wrong. I was a cop from 2001 to 2009. Tons of certifications, use of force instructor, defensive tactics expert, fiduciary for the pension board, union president, FTO, that's field training officer, juvenile officer, certified in a ton of shit. I was on NIPUS mobile field force. You fucking name it. Fuck you and your dirty mom's cunt if you think that you're going to come onto my channel and then insult when cops actually do shit right. I'm all for negative reinforcement for their shitty behavior, but at the same time, too, if you don't know what you're talking about, just sit in the back seat or go follow some other channel and just, get your edification on with your circle jerk of, what is it? Just cognitive dissonance. All right, there you go. Bleeding Blue just said, I can't understand the bootlickers of the thoughts. Delete laws. Man, you know what, Chili? I don't like you. I appreciate the donation, but Chili, You are your own worst enemy. I appreciate your watching, but Chili, and I'll say this to you. I've said this about you. Chili DeCastro, who's watching, delete laws, I think could have made one of the biggest differences in criminal justice today if he really wanted to. If he really wanted to. The incessant insulting just to trying to get the goad of cops out there to prove bad behavior and not doing any pre or post education on what you were doing is it's ambulance chasing. It's sensationalizing it. And you don't listen either, because when we did a podcast, you didn't want to hear shit when I started to correct you about stuff that I disagreed. No, you're wrong. And that's your personality. I get it. I have a lot of it too. But with 500,000 followers on YouTube, I think you have a bigger responsibility to do education instead of just going around, oh, you dunce cap. Oh, you pig. I shoot pigs like you for a living. Shut the fuck up. I don't care for your persona. And I think that you wasted your fucking talent when it comes down to being able to actually make a difference in law enforcement. And now you're out for a paycheck. That's it. That's all I got. No, I have no desire to talk about it, Chili. I don't. No, none at all. So you could do your stuff. Best of luck to you. I hope you continue to get paid and all that kind of stuff, but no. All right, guys, you have a great damn day. Remember, live every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 p.m. Central. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, 6 Pacific. Again, comments if you're watching Aftermath-wise, if you agree, disagree, whatever. But again, I'm about negative reinforcement. I do not believe in humanizing the badge. I think that is one of the shittiest, most detrimental movements out there. I think cops should be pressure tested harder than anything. I think their standards should be elevated massively. I've talked about the tenets to changing law enforcement. Raise the age from 21 to 30 minimum. Get rid of certifications. Go to licensing that needs to be renewed every 2 years, just like a fucking hairstylist or a real estate agent. Get rid of qualified immunity. Go for an individual insurance policy that has to be carried. And just like your driver's license, you get 3 convictions. You can get pulled over. You can get a drop. Doesn't need to be convicted. But if you get 3 convictions on your license, your policy is suspended. Period. And I think that there needs to be 100% accuracy on constitutional tests done every year. And just like doctors and lawyers who are always responsible for staying on top of their non-stop flow of information coming in, I think the cops should be. The college degree does nothing. Trust me, more shitheads have come out of college and don't know how to fucking even remotely deal with people. You need more car salesmen, more bartenders, more waitresses who actually know how to deal with customer service for people and cops. You need to know how to treat them like human beings. At the same time, do the job when you're supposed to. But we need to have a lot more education when it comes down to the laws they're enforcing, so that when they're pressed for something, then all of a sudden, yes, this is exactly why I'm arresting you. End of story. All right, be safe out there. I'll see you guys in the next video.